Hi everyone, today we're going to answer the question in the topic that, in the very important topics is that, do you have what it takes to freelances? So this is a topic that we're going to discover or answer some questions for. So after we have going to the blank and answer circles and something like that, I'll answer the question. We're going to move on to the second things that we need to do is that answer the question. So we have a total of 5 question is question number 7, 8, and 9, and also the 2 discussion questions. Now, moving on to the first question here is that freelancing is usually isolated with dependent and freedom. So, what are some ways of freelancing can lead to lack of freedom? So, these are related to what is called like independence and freedom and individual people. So, these can have some of the ways of freelancing will lead to lack of freedom. So, we already know that these are short terms kind of like job, not a full-time job. So these can lead to a lot of their own freedoms. So if we isolate freelancing is usually isolated and independent and freedom. So what are some ways that freelancing will lead to lack of freedom? So as we already know, so freelancing can lead to an individual lack, because sometimes researchers have discovered that if we have like jobs or short-term jobs, or maybe they have determined to when and where they work in themselves, they're more likely to like it more. So but they can also lack of freedom sometimes. So these jobs can lack of freedom. So because they wanted to choose whatever they wanted, like how, what times, where, but not how. Because these kind of like app can lead it to how you works, not but you determine when and how to, when and where to work. So these can identify its their own freedom to choose whatever they want, but they can also lack of their own freedom as well, because they want to choose. Researchers discover that if people have more independent, more things they can choose themselves, it's more likely that the customer or people who want the job are more likely to like it more. On the 8th question, so what are some ways that large collaborations might take advantages of deceive their freelancers employees? So this can affect it a lot in some areas. So as you know that there are some ways of large collaboration. So large collaborations, like large of collaborative and group people or other independent, might take advantages of or deceiving their freedom employees. So this can deceiving their own amount of freedom themselves, but also deceive this amount of employees. So what are some ways that large collaboration can takes advantages deceiving? So large collaborations can take tons of deceiving of these freelancers employees. Firstly, they can take out the freedom that we already know. Secondly, they takes out the flexibility and the challenge they have. So this flexibility can cause a lot of different dangers to these large collaboration, but also connected to other freelancers as well. Another question: if you have friend or family members who was about to go freelancers, so what advice would you give to them? So a lot of people, actually some other people in my neighbors did freelancers once, but sometimes it's if they have freelancers, members of my friends or family members have freelancer. So first thing is to choose or just turn themselves into an entrepreneur. So these entrepreneurs, if you want to do it, you have to find it. So they also need to project management, time management, and a collaboration in each. So these are also more independent flexibility. They have using collaborating apps like easy to find job. They also more teach them about how to use these apps, maybe, or how to more collaborative in their own things. So yeah, there are a lot of things that are effective in these areas. So we have there be entrepreneurs, organized and self-directed, budget for benefits, and have skill that in demand. So things that I'm going to tell my maybe friends or family members who going or might be freelancers. First thing I will talk about how a skill that in demand. Secondly, be entrepreneurs, organized and self-directed in their own personalities, and budget for benefits. So one more thing is that these are all more independent flexibility in some app. Maybe I could recommend some recommend them some interesting app that can find a job easier, or freelancing. They can be more morals and their own flexibility. Moving on to the discussion question, firstly, would you prefer to be a traditional workplace or freelancers, and explain? So for me, It's depend on what it is. So how about like a traditional workforce? Traditional maybe full-time job, which can be paid more. So then if you are being and freelancers, it might be like if you want to change that something, you don't have to pay money at all. Like literally, you don't actually need to pay more if you want to change schedule or more. So but these are like how about traditional workforce, which is every day sometime, and sometimes it's full-time jobs. It's depending on what kind of job do I do and what schedule I have, and depending that they can choose. So firstly, about what is the advantages of traditional workforce. So on the traditional workforce, we are work full-time job, they can be paid more if we do more, and they can depending on what kinds of it that we have. So freelancer can have independent people. That is one advantage that they have. Like each traditional workforce and freelancer can have each advantages. But for me, I choose that and freelancer because freelancer give people freedom, because a lot of people nowadays are busy and doing their works. So firstly, a lot of trendsetters. So a lot of trends has going on. Maybe they have trends of doing this work. They might have trends of doing that. They might be like have their own personality something. How about we have a job about an artist or maybe an artist or dancer? So then we can catch up to those things like getting job hop, and we want money. But those jobs will get less money, and this is more likely to go not good because freelancer give us freedom and ability and independency that we can have in ourselves. To move on to the second question is that is the future more freelancer better than work for humanity? So is the future with more freelancer better or worse for humanity? As we know, we already know what freelancer is. We already know that what is traditional workforce is. But does freelancer get bad or like better or worse for humanity? Freelancer can have some advantages for both the humanity and independent people. It can also worsen their ability to understand. So freelancers, it's more freelancers better or worse for humanity. So for my taste, it's kind of more better for economy. As you know, that these can help for humanities a lot. Like researchers had to find it that freelancers give people ability to get freedom and independence themselves, which is more likely to get more people like it, more economics that people want it, and more jobs. So if freelancers help the economy, maybe they have more opportunity for people to get jobs. So these can help people to find jobs for themselves and grow up more independent. So those are 5 questions that I discussed today. Thank you for you guys listening to my answers, and goodbye.